It's refresh day in the valley, which means we have some new premium shop items to look at, and of course, Dreamsnap results, as well as a new Dreamsnap challenge. In today's video, I'll be talking about everything in the premium shop, and while I do find some items to be rather disappointing or lackluster, there is one thing in the shop that I'm very happy with, and luckily it turns out to be the cheapest item available this week. Before we get started, I'd like to mention that I'm a small full-time content creator, so every like on this video can make a tremendous difference for me. Consider subscribing for more Disney Dreamlight Valley and gaming content. If you would like to catch more of my content, you can find me live on Twitch Monday through Friday. Links to both my Twitch channel and Discord server can be found in the video description down below. And with that out of the way, let's get started. Alright, so here we have this week's premium lineup, and yeah, it's not my favorite, but it's also not the worst lineup we've seen. And as I mentioned in the intro, there is one thing in particular here that I really love. So let's start with that item, and then we'll get into my critiques of these other items. So let's start with the positive, and that's going to be this floating floral inflatable. One thing I've really loved about the Mysteries of Skull Rock update so far is that they've been giving us some great new water decor. And we have so many different areas that can really benefit from these items. Like, there's so much water to decorate with in Dazzle Beach, and then we have the new river kit, so there's a lot of potential for these items. So this is by far my favorite item in the shop this week, and it's only 1,000 moonstones. On the surface, it doesn't look super fun or like cool. It looks very paper mache kind of, but it is supposed to be an inflatable, which is why it has this funky look. And like I said, on the surface, it might not look very exciting, but when you place this thing, it actually glows at sunset and at night, and I think it's one of the best looking water decor items we currently have in the game. And like I said, it is the cheapest item in the shop. So let's take a look at it in game. So when you pick up this new inflatable from the shop, you're gonna get a couple of them, but of course you can buy more from Scrooge. Now during the day, they're all right. I mean, they are pretty fun, they're cool, and they're unique, but the way they glow at sunset and at nighttime makes them one of the best water decor items we have in the game. And as mentioned, they are rather cheap, so if there is one thing in the shop this week that I would recommend picking up, it would be this item. Now if you do purchase this new floral inflatable, you're probably gonna want a few more from Scrooge. And I was pretty happy to see the Scrooge pricing on this coming in at only 600 star coins. So not only is the moonstone cost on this low, the star coin cost is quite low as well. Now let's move on to this new sunflower set. It's going to come in two pieces. You have the sunflower wings and you have the sunflower ensemble. The ensemble is going to include this little headpiece as well as the sunflower dress, and it's going to run you 1,750 moonstones. The wings, of course, would be a single item, and they do have a nice little animation dropping these yellow petals, and they're going to run you the same cost at another 1,750. All things considered, this is a really good looking fit. I love the headpiece, I love the base of the dress, and I really love the wrapping on the leg. The fact that the top is a whole bunch of little sunflower seeds is really clever, and overall it is a really fun, really unique fit. But getting both the dress and the wings is going to cost you a grand total of 3,500 moonstones. And if you've seen the premium shop leaks, there are some really good things coming to the shop, so I don't really blame you if you want to pass on it. Like I said, I really like the dress. I don't like it as much as maybe the gold Clarion bundle or the new wavy animated dress from the Star Path, but still the sunflower theme is very fun, and I can see this being very useful in certain Dreamsnap challenges. Now let's talk about the vintage camper houses. Now this is a little premium house bundle, and it comes with two premium houses. There's the vintage seafoam variant and then just the vintage camper house. And these two little camper houses are going to run you 3,750 moonstones. Now I'm gonna be honest with you here, and some of you may disagree, and that's totally fine, but I find these camper houses very unimpressive. especially at that price. I mean, if you think back to when we got the Haunted Mansion, think about the size, scope, and detail the Haunted Mansion offered. Also consider that one of the mansions was decorated completely differently from the other, like it was all decked out for Halloween and Christmas. So both variants felt distinctly different from one another. And how much did that bundle cost? 3,750 moonstones, which to be honest felt completely reasonable for that bundle. But for these vintage camper houses, they're literally identical with different style skins. All the devs did was make the same house and upload 2 different color textures for it. That's it. This is not worth 3,750 moonstones, and you cannot convince me otherwise. Now, don't get me wrong, I do think it's cute. I think it's gonna work really well for camping dream snaps, maybe some wilderness snaps, or different builds within your valley. But when I review premium items, I go based off of how much time and effort the developers put into these items. So if one had a completely different exterior, like maybe it had a little camp set attached to it, or a different style roofing, like if it was a completely different kind of build, like we stated with the Haunted Mansions, maybe then I would see it being worth nearly 4,000 moonstones. But the fact that these are practically identical aside from color just feels like a cash grab. It just feels like, okay, how can we sell this for 3,750 instead of just 3,000? And I don't know, I'm just pretty disappointed with that, especially considering how moonstone intense this update has been. The max bundle was the most expensive signature bundle we've ever seen, coming in at 4,500. The river kit was 3,750, and while I do really like the utility of the river kit, it came with a lot of corner pieces, but there are only 3 straight bank pieces, and that doesn't give you much diversity in how you create your river and how it looks. So I was pretty disappointed with the river kit. Like I said, don't get me wrong, love the utility of the river kit, very good idea. I just think it could have been executed better. So my issue here is, so far in this update, I feel like prices are getting higher while effort and design is getting lower. But like I mentioned previously, there are some really good things coming to the premium shop this update. We can't expect every item to be a banger, so I'm gonna be kind of forgiving in my criticism here. To summarize, I just really think this camper bundle should have been 3,000 moonstones. I get it, it's 2 premium houses, but if you don't make some kind of change to those houses, aside from just a recolor, you didn't put any extra work into it. So why should we have to pay a higher price tag? But yeah, usually I'm pretty excited for new premium houses. I usually have really good things to say, and I've been very happy with all the premium houses from the previous update, and I've seen the leaks for the other ones coming in this update. There are some real bangers in there, and I'm really excited to get a closer look at them. But when I saw these campers in the leaks, I thought for sure they would be 3,000, and I was like, no way they charge nearly 4,000 for just one house with a reskin version, but it is what it is. So is it worth getting? Well, if you are short on moonstones and you want to save up, there are much better premium houses coming during this update, and you always have Buzz's RV if you really want to use an RV to make a camping snap, so you don't necessarily need these vintage campers. That said, you do get 2 of them, and they do have a very distinct look. They're quite different from Buzz's. They're a little bit bigger, and who knows, that alone might make it worth it for you. Another thing that kind of disappointed me with these RVs is it really seems like you'd be able to place an item here. Like there's a cooler box here, and then we have an open space, so like a chair would be really nice beside the cooler, especially now that we could take photos in a chair. That would be a really fun way to do a camping dream snap submission, right? But to my surprise, you actually can't put anything right here, which for me was rather shocking. I thought for sure we would be able to have items under this little canopy. I mean, you can get things like right up on the edge here, like you can get them in front of the cooler, but yeah, nothing can go back here beside the cooler, which just makes this even more disappointing. So closing out the shop for the week, I would not skip on the floating floral inflatable. This is such a cute item. It's super fun. It's got great utility. I can see this being used in so many dream snaps, anywhere we have a body of water, and now that we have the river kit, it really adds a lot to the value and utility of this item, and best of all, this item is reasonably priced at 1,000 moonstones. Aside from that, I do really appreciate the sunflower ensemble. It's a super unique fit. I like the wings, and I like the dress, but if you had to pick between them, I would probably get the dress. I just really like the top piece and the shoes. The wings are fun and they go very nicely with it, but if you had to choose between the two, I think I would go dress. And lastly, for the vintage camper house, I'm just really unimpressed by this. Again, this is what we've seen in the past for 3,750 moonstones. It's not just a different version with a different colored roof or different colored pillars. No, it's got loads of additional detail. All the jack-o'-lanterns, the countdown clock on the main door, the spooky wreaths, the balcony candles, the Christmas lights. I mean, these are just two very distinctly different premium homes in the same bundle, whereas these two campers are completely identical with the exception of color. Again, it's okay if you like them, you know, you might really enjoy camping and you might really like the vintage look. I'm not saying they're horrible items. I just don't think adding an alternate version with different colors makes it worth nearly 4,000 moonstones. It feels a little cash grabby, and this whole update so far has been pretty moonstone intensive. With that, we've wrapped up the premium shop for this week. So before we go, let's take a quick look into Dreamsnaps. We're going to look at the new challenge, and then I'm going to check my mail and we'll see how we did on last week's submission. All right, we have a decor challenge. This one's called Decorate with Pride. Express yourself, celebrate the vibrant Disney Dreamlight Valley community with the most colorful design scape you can imagine. Mandatory tags are cute and playful. Bonus tags are casual and lavish. So if you haven't redeemed the newest Pride codes, be sure to do that before working to create this new submission. I'm excited to see what the community does with this challenge, as it's pretty open-ended. I mean, the opening line here is express yourself, and there are a lot of different ways to go about that. With that, let's close out today's video by checking my results for the Grand Banquet Extravaganza. Now, I'm not expecting super good results on this one. I'm kind of just expecting my average somewhere between 1,000 and 3,000, mostly because I've been extremely busy balancing content between Fantasy Life and Dreamlight Valley lately, so I didn't put as much time into my snap as usual, but I do really like it. I think it turned out really nice given the amount of time I put into it. So with that, let's see the results. All right, score was 85.86, and we ranked 2,512, pretty much in line with what I was expecting. And here it is. This is what I put together for Grand Banquet Extravaganza. Like I was saying, not my usual level of detail. I don't have a ton of depth of field here. My midground was mainly comprised of some larger premium houses, and most of the foreground consisted of the banquet. My favorite thing about this submission would be the food I chose to highlight. There are so many really good looking dishes in this game. 9 times out of 10, when I start cooking in Dreamlight Valley, I get hungry. The food just looks that good. So yeah, I was excited to highlight all these items. On the right hand side, we have Tiana, because of course we have to include Tiana here, and on the left we have our banquet attendants. Now I would have loved to include Remy as well, but it was a little tricky to find a great spot for him, so sadly I left him out of this one. If you came across this snap and you liked it enough to vote for it, thank you very much. Although I didn't spend a tremendous amount of time on it, it was really fun to put together, and I'm very pleased with the way it turned out. With that, we've covered our shop review and dream snaps. And while I wasn't extremely happy with the shop this week, I am very excited about the premium shop leaks I have seen, so I'm still pretty optimistic about what else is coming throughout this update. And let's not forget, we also have Storybook Vale Part 2 coming up on July 9th, and with the devs balancing that between these free updates, that might be why some of the things in the shop this week could be a little lackluster. If you found today's video helpful, informative, or simply entertaining, please do me a very big favor and press that like button. And of course, consider subscribing for more Disney Dreamlight Valley and gaming content. If you'd like to catch more of my content, you can find me live on Twitch Monday through Friday. Links to both my Twitch channel and Discord server can be found in the video description down below. As always, thank you so much for your time today, and I hope you enjoy the future of Disney Dreamlight Valley.